What are you fishing for? What are you fishing for? These words were not in the gospel today, but I can think that Jesus might have asked the apostles that same question. The apostles had just finished fishing all night, and they caught absolutely nothing. As most fishermen would say after catching nothing all night, they were skunked. They were skunked. They caught nothing. They'd been out there, and they had been skunked. That is until Jesus, the master fishing guide, pointed them to a spot where they should go, and then they went to that spot, caught a humongous amount of fish, and came ashore without breaking the net. And then Jesus fixed breakfast for them. In today's fishing world, food like that in fishing is called a shore lunch, a shore lunch. And that brings back a memory of my dad was an avid fisherman, and my dad loved to fish and always and wanted to get my brother and I to take up the same sport, but we just really didn't get into fishing. Unfortunately, sitting in a boat all day and quietly doing nothing and just sitting there was to us about as exciting as watching paint dry. I'm sure there's a couple of avid fishermen out there that would throw a piece of dead bait at me if they had an opportunity. However, when I was 16 years old, my brother and I, my dad, took us on a fishing trip to Leech Lake in northern Minnesota. On the first day, Dad tried to get an Indian guide. All the Indians were Ojibwe Indians, but we could not get any guide that first day to take us fishing. Unfortunately, that first day then, we had to fish without a guide. And we went into 10 different fishing spots. We cast in deep water. We cast in shallow water. We used live bait. We used dead bait. We used artificial bait. Anything you can think of. And we caught absolutely nothing that day. To put it in the terms like the apostles, we were skunked. We caught absolutely nothing. The next day, Dad got an Indian guide, and all the Indian guides were Ojibwe Indians, and our guide's name was George. Now, George looked like a fisherman, leathery hands, lines in his face, and he really looked like he knew what he was doing. And I forgot to mention that the first day we went out there for lunch, we made our own peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So the second day, we brought along peanut butter and jelly sandwiches also. When George, our guide, saw the sandwiches, he looked at them very sarcastically and said, "Throw those in the lake. George, catch fish for you. I know what I'm doing." And man, he did. We went to the same spot we fished the day before, did everything exactly the same, and we started to catch fish. In fact, we caught our limit before lunch. I think it was 3 fish apiece. We had more fish than I'd ever seen in my life. And then George pulled us ashore on a small island, and he had what we made is called a shore lunch. He took the fish, cleaned them, slick as a whistle, built a small fire. He had brought some equipment, and he fried the fish in a pan that day around noontime. And we had this great shore lunch. It's something I will never forget. And the one thing I learned then, because when I was 16 years old, is number one, what are you fishing for? And also have a guide when you go fishing. And so today's homily really fishtails very nice, or today's gospel fishtails very nicely into that story. The apostles who were fishing all day had caught absolutely nothing, but they allowed Jesus, a guide, to lead them and point the way to where they should go. And so the question we have to ask ourselves today is, what are we fishing for? What are we fishing for? What are we casting our line out to and our lifeline as we fish for life, for our daily routine? Everyone fishes for something every day in their life, at every single time. What are your goals and aspirations? What are your ambitions, hopes that drive you and allow you and get you through your day? What gets you out of bed in the morning every day to keep you going? Some people fish Some people fish for money or power or success. Some people fish for carnal pleasure or natural pleasures or material pleasures. And some people fish for happiness and personal joy. We're all casting out our line for something in our life. A better job, a new home, a marriage partner, or maybe you're a couple just trying to have a baby or adopt a baby. We're all trying to catch out something in our lives. These are the goals that motivate us and induce our actions. Some are driven by love for family, some by our spouse, some by our children, and some by our personal ambition of justice, using our time, talent, and treasure to help others. However, and this is really the thrust of this homily, many people just wander aimlessly through life. They're unconscious of their inner ambitions, unaware of deep truths. They're living their life without a purpose or plan. And most importantly, they're living their life without a guide. Allow Jesus to be the master guide for your fishing trip through life. Again, allow Jesus to be your guide for your fishing trip through life. Every day, plan your plans and goals before God. Your visions, your dreams, your deepest needs and wants. Jesus is the master guide. As you journey along your trip fishing, your fishing trip of life, work at allowing God to teach you the best places to fish. Work at allowing God to teach you what kind of fish to catch and even how to do it. We must make Jesus the master guide, and he will guide us in the right direction to fish for whatever's worthwhile in our lives. One of the best places to hear this word of the master guide is here at Sunday Mass every Sunday. The master guide, Jesus, will show us the right place to spiritually fish in the scriptures, and he will feed us a shore lunch every Sunday by giving us his body in Holy Communion. Without coming to Sunday Mass, if you miss Sunday Mass, you will always be skunked when you try for fishing for a more meaningful and grateful life. I'll say that again. If you miss Sunday Mass, you'll always be skunked for a more meaningful and productive life. So in closing, when we are all called before God on our judgment day, hopefully St. Peter will greet us with the words, "Welcome, welcome, congratulations. You are a great fisherman. You followed the master guides completely. Welcome to heaven. You knew exactly what you were doing. And you've caught it. So welcome to heaven." So I guess the challenge really before all of us is, what are we fishing for? What are we fishing for?
Thank you for joining us today. Our digital ministry provides a valuable service to parishioners and visitors alike. Daily and Sunday Mass, funerals, weddings, and fireside chats, among other things, can be seen locally, throughout the country, and even the world, in real time or at one's convenience. If you would like to support this effort, please go to olphglenview.org. Click on the gold donate button and then the Sunday giving icon to make a contribution on our secure online giving portal. We sincerely appreciate your past and ongoing support. Thank you for helping us continue this ministry. God bless.